Hi, I'm Nick with Farmer's Friend. Today we're going to be installing a framed double zipper end wall. Let's get started. Let's go over the tools that you're going to need to complete this job. We're going to need a level, 2 sets of pliers, a pair of needle nose pliers, wire cutters or dikes, a hammer, a tape measure, something to cut the plastic with, string, a marker, 1/4 inch nut driver, 5/16 nut driver, a deep well 1/2 inch socket with an adapter, safety glasses, a drill or an impact drill, and a circular saw. We're also going to need a ladder. Let's go over what's included in the kit. We have the double zipper end wall, which includes the spring wire. We have the anchor posts, the finishing caps, the self-tapping screws, the tube straps, the wood screws and the neoprene washers, L brackets, brace bands and associated nut and bolt, and we have the universal end wall bracket. Now what's not included in the kit is the lumber. For this particular job, we're going to need 4 2x4x8s. In this step, we're going to mark our door location, but before we do that, if you have roll-up sides like we do, you're going to remove the guide bar and the hand crank. Now we're ready to install our string, and we just want to make sure that we put it on the outside face or edge of our bow, and we're going to tie that right here. Now that we've got it across to the other side, we want to make sure that we pull it really tight and that we secure it very well, because any slippage in the string will throw off your measurements. Now we need to measure our width, find our center, and mark our string. And it's important to make sure that you're on the outside edge of the bow over there and that you measure to the outside edge of the bow here. Now we're going to measure 49 inches from the center and make another mark on the string. And we're going to do that on each side of center. Now in this step, we're ready to attach our lower end wall bracket. In our case, we have a baseboard, so we're going to need to create some space by removing the wood screws. If you have spring wire or spring channel on the outside, you may have to do the same thing, create some space. We're going to go ahead and do that now. Next, we need to open our brace band so that we can slide it around the bow. And we just do that by using 2 sets of pliers, one on one side of the brace band and one on the other, and then we slightly open it. And then you'll just want to slide it on and close the tabs back. Now we need to attach our lower end wall bracket to the brace band, and we're going to do that with just a bolt and a nut. And you want to make sure that your bolt head is facing on the outside of the tunnel. That way you prevent any damage to plastic, and just finger tighten the nut on the back. The next thing we need to do is determine the height of our lower end wall bracket. And in our case, we have a 2x4, so we're just going to add 1 inch to that to make sure we have ground clearance. And that makes it 4.5 inches. So we're going to just pull a tape. That's about right. Then we're going to tighten it down. Now we need to re-secure our baseboard or your single channel, and repeat this entire step on the other side. At this point, we're ready to begin installing our upper end wall bracket. And to do that, you're going to need to make a plumb bob. We just used one of the universal end wall brackets and some string. And once you do that, you just want to dangle it down. And you want to put the plumb bob on the 49-inch mark of your string. And once you get it where you want it, you'll make a mark on your bow. Now we need to install our brace band, but it won't fit. So we have to create some space. The way you're going to do that is remove a small section of your spring wire. That way you can peel back the plastic and gain access to the self-tapping screws that are holding your single channel down. You'll remove that screw, it'll create a gap, and then we'll install our brace band. And then we need to close the tabs on our brace band. And now we need to install our upper end wall bracket onto the brace band. You want to make sure that your bolt head is on the outside, again, that prevents damage to the plastic. And then you want to position your brace band on the lower side of the mark that we made on our bow and tighten it down. Now you need to resecure your single channel and repeat this entire step on the other side. Now we're ready to install our door post. Before we do that, we're gonna need to make a mark where we need to cut. So it's gonna be important that you place your door post on the inside of your 49-inch mark on your string below and to the inside of the upper end wall bracket. And then you're gonna make a mark 1 inch below where the bracket begins to twist. Now secure your door post to the upper end wall bracket using wood screws about 1 inch off the ground. And now repeat this entire step on the other side. In this step, we're going to install the anchor post. Before you do that, you're going to want to make sure that your door post is aligned with the 49-inch mark on your string, and you want it to be to the inside. Then you're going to want to position your anchor post where the baseboard and the door post will meet. Now we're going to drive our anchor post into the ground, and you want to drive that to the depth just below where you anticipate your baseboard height being. Now we need to install our finishing cap. However, as we were driving our anchor post, it was severely mushroomed. So we're just gonna lop off that mushroom with a Sawzall and then install our finishing cap. Now we're gonna secure our tube strap to the door post using a wood screw and then to the anchor post using a self-tapping screw. Now we're gonna repeat this entire step on the other side of the doorway. In this step, we're going to be installing our baseboard. Before we do that, we're going to have to measure so that we know where to make our cut. So you're going to pull a measurement from just inside where your lower end wall bracket starts to twist, and you're going to measure over to your baseboard. Next, we need to install our L bracket on the top edge of our baseboard and flush with the edge of the board. Now we're going to secure our baseboard to the lower end wall bracket, and when you do that, you just want to make sure that the baseboard is butted up against the doorpost. Now we're going to level our baseboard and secure it to the doorpost. Before we do that, we're finding that the string's getting in our way, so we're going to remove it. We won't need it anymore. You can actually remove it anytime after you install the anchor posts. And the last step on this side is to secure the tube strap on the back to the baseboard and then repeat this entire step on the other side. In this step, we're going to install our end wall material, and the first thing we need to do is roll out our end wall plastic. Now that we've got our end wall material laid out on the ground, we need to make sure it's in the correct orientation. So the back side of the zipper should be facing up, and you can identify the back side of the zipper by the stitching and the fabric. You can see both of those. On the front side, there is a little poly flaps that kind of cover over the zipper. Also, you want to make sure that there's a pocket seam here. You can actually kind of see that as I open it, and there's a seam for that pocket. You want to make sure that that's at the bottom. Now you want to position your door in the doorway where it's centered. And you can just visually do that by looking at your zippers and making sure that you have about the same space between the doorpost and the zipper on each side. You also want to make sure that your pocket seam is laying flat on the ground. And now we're ready to secure the in-raw material to the doorpost using a wood screw and a neoprene washer. And you want to make sure that if you have any slope, that you start on the doorpost that is at the low end of the slope. And that's so that you can make sure that you have plenty of zipper on both sides. And now we're ready to secure the top corner on the same side. And you just want to make sure that your zipper is parallel to the doorpost all the way up. So you want about the same spacing at the top and the bottom. And now you want to repeat what you did on the other side and just make sure that you're pulling the wrinkles out as you secure it. So now we're ready to secure our in-wall plastic into the single channel using spring wire. We're going to do that by starting at the peak and working our way down the sides. Two things you want to keep in mind as you're doing this is to pull the slack, the wrinkles out of the plastic material. And also, if you have roll-up sides, that you're not securing that plastic into the channel as well, rendering your roll-up side useless. Now that we've got our in-wall plastic secured, we're ready to trim the excess plastic, leaving 2 to 3 inches. Now we're ready to install our header, and we're going to need to go inside the tunnel to do that. And now we're ready to measure and cut our header, and we're at 89.5. Now we're going to install an L bracket on each end of our header, and we just want to make sure that it's flush with the end of the board. Now you're ready to attach your header on one side at the desired height, and just don't go above the zipper. And now you just want to make sure that your header is level before you secure it on this side. Now we're going to secure our in-wall plastic every 12 inches with a wood screw and a neoprene washer across the baseboard and around the door frame. Now that we've got our in-wall secured and in place, if you have roll-up sides and you happen to have a hand crank with a guide bar, you basically just want to cut a hole in the in-wall plastic, reinstall your guide bar and the hand crank. The other thing we would mention is it makes it a lot easier to roll the door up and down if you have a pipe in that pocket on the bottom, and that can be anything you have laying around the farm. And that is how you install a framed double zipper end wall. If you have any questions during this process, please reach out to our customer support team. You can reach them at farmersfriend.com. And until next time, may you prosper and be in peace.